Design Board meeting for May 20th will convene. We will start with roll call.
Thank you. I'll proceed with roll call. Chair Lewis.
Here.
Vice Chair Anderson.
Here.
Board Member Graffiti.
Yes.
Board Member Sherry.
Yes.
We have quorum.
Okay, great. We will start with public comment. This is general public comment for the board on something not on the agenda today.
Thank you, Chair Lewis. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I have no slips for general public comment. However, if anyone wishes to make a comment, they can fill out a slip and bring it to me. I see no one in the audience moving to do so, so we will move on next to virtual public comment. And I see no hands raised for virtual public comment, and we did not receive any correspondence for general public comment. So at that, I'll turn it back over to you, Chair Lewis.
All right, thank you. Next is approval of the minutes of our full board meeting on May 6th.
And I just wanted to make the comment here that we did make some motions here at this hearing, but we didn't clarify if to continue them to full board or to consent. And I think item 1 was we're awaiting their resubmittal, but if you wanted to clarify whether it would be continued to full board or consent, I think that would be much appreciated.
I recall there was one of them that we did specify to make sure they could go to consent, but do you all recall which? Let me see if the drawings will pull up. So the first one was the 2-story residence and attached garage. You're not able to quickly pull up their drawing, are you?
Let's see.
This is the one with the ADU that was a little bit higher. Fence line.
I have a comment on the first item, even though I have to abstain. Jean Chen is no longer working in our firm, and the applicant should be Lauren Ballantyne. And then you can leave Sherry and Associates, but Jean Chen should be taken out.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so the first one was from your firm. So I feel like that one we didn't specify to be consent, so that should be full board. The Shoreline Drive one with Tom
I
Oshner.
think that was the consent one, because the other one I had to recuse myself, and I don't remember if you guys did consent or not, but I remember consent on one.
Yeah, and just to clarify, it was item 3 that we reopened and specified to continue to consent.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can see that. Let me
Okay.
provide you the address here. it was for 2315 Edgewater Way.
Okay, great.
So you can see here, reopened to amend the original motion.
I would say for Shoreline to continue that to consent. Well, actually, no, because Shoreline was at PDA and final.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Correct.
that doesn't need to be
Right.
continued.
Correct. That one does not need to be clarified.
Okay.
The first, and I think just for the first item, I don't think we
Okay, and that was full
we
board.
mentioned,
Okay.
yeah. And that one you did want to continue to full board?
Doesn't matter, it has to,
I think
we
so. I
didn't
think
vote
we
on
were
it.
waiting on details and things like that, so,
Okay.
yeah,
Just keep it to full board, okay.
There's nothing you can do about it now anyway.
Thank you.
yeah.
Because it would have had to have happened during the meeting.
Well, I think he was making sure what the intent was during the
Oh,
meeting,
yeah.
yeah. So, okay. Did you have any other comments on the minutes? Okay, I move to approve, the minutes from May 6th.
Oh, I can't second.
I
it.
was, I did
as a-
abstain as well.
Oh,
I-
got it.
I'll second that.
Thanks.
Okay, we will take a vote. Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Graffitti,
Abstain.
Board Member Sherry.
Abstain.
Motion passes.
Okay. Next is approval of the consent calendar on May 13th.
I just had one correction, and I can't remember which item it was on. If you can just scroll down to the comments. I think it was the first item. Can you, sorry, just pause. So for C, under number 1, for the neighborhood findings, the stucco and the new brown composite roof.
Okay.
And that's it.
So you move to approve.
Yeah, I'll move to approve these minutes.
I'll second. Okay, next is approval of the consent
Should we
minutes.
vote?
We
Oh,
can
I'm
vote.
sorry, thank you.
Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Graffitti,
Yes.
Board Member Sherry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, now we will move to the approval of the consent minutes on May 20th. So today,
They were pretty quick. I'll make a motion to approve the consent items for today, May 20th.
I'll second.
Okay, we'll vote. Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Graffitti,
Yes.
Board Member Sherry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next we'll move to announcements. I would like to announce that we will have 2 open positions starting this summer. If anyone would like to apply to be on the Single Family Design Board. And do you have the dates for that? Okay, perfect.
Yes, I was about to announce the same thing. So
Perfect.
yeah, we do have a special recruitment open, and The deadline for online submittal is June 5th, so make sure you get your applications in by then, or if you know anybody who's interested, tell them to submit by June 5th. Applicants will be interviewed and appointments announced at the City Council hearing on June 11th. And another announcement I also have is that I've fully transitioned over from consent to full board, so I'll be only at the full board hearings from now on, and Mary has taken over consent.
Okay,
Thanks.
perfect, thank you. Okay. We'll move to our first item. This is a continued item here for project design approval, 1274 San Miguel. Proposal to construct a 547 square foot first floor addition and a new 375 square foot second story to an existing 1,047 square foot single unit residence located in the non-appealable jurisdiction of the coastal zone. Project includes a 160 square foot second story roof deck, new doors and windows throughout, and an interior remodel. The existing attached 503 square foot ADU is not under the SFDB purview. The proposed total of 1,969 square feet on a 7,384 square foot lot is 65% of the required maximum floor to lot area ratio. So they are here today for project design approval. The project was last seen on July 31st, so welcome up. If you can make sure that your microphones are on and state your names for the record, and then it would be helpful in your presentation to go through the previous minutes and show us kind of how you have addressed those. Is the light on?
No.
If you press the push, there you go.
Hello, I'm Johnny Hirsch, agent for the owner, Noah Blaustein. Whoa, that's very loud. Now, when you say previous minutes, would you like me to read through the previous minutes?
Yes, that should be the third tab up on the screen.
Oh, I have,
Oh, you've got them? If you don't mind showing them, that'd be helpful too for us.
okay.
At the very top of the PDF, yeah, the third tab. There you go.
Okay. Starting with the most recent, or would you like to go further back?
Just the most recent one will be good.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, this was July 31st, 2023. Just for reference, we had been here 2 other times prior to that, pre-pandemic and masked included. I'll just read, let's see here.
It's a joke, it's our annual meeting.
Okay, would you, the description is the same, so I probably don't need to read that?
Yeah,
or-
just the motion with the comments
Okay.
down at the bottom. There you go, those 4 comments.
Motion continue definitely with comments. Comment number 1, the board appreciates the reduction and reconfiguration of the south-facing windows on the upper floor. The board appreciates the neighborhood study of the 20 closest residencies. The applicant shall propose an alternate material in lieu of the vertical corrugated siding proposed, and a more neutral color consistent with the neighborhood be considered. The board is generally in agreement that the simulated 1x1 ebony colored siding is acceptable. So previous comments had all been that mass, scale, all was fine. And now we go to the presentation, I assume? Do you want to see the old plans first, or does that matter? No? Okay.
No, just if something has changed, if you can
Yeah.
reference,
Yeah.
thank you.
To be clear, the only thing that's changed is the material that was requested.
Okay, perfect.
So I don't, some of you are not familiar with the project, so I'll just go through it. This was the study of modern precedents in the Mesa, and this was more closer in projects that were precedential to modern design, just because the previous board members had asked for that. So the new material, well, the old material, in fact, I brought physical. There are basically 2 materials for the exterior. One is a recycled material that will go on the upper portion of the of the structure, we're trying to break down the massing in both materiality and in literal massing. And then the new material is a tongue and groove wood siding that will have a pre-weathered finish. So putting them together, we're trying to be cognizant of the comments and still present a high quality design. Here is a rendering that represents, as renderings do, taking into consideration the existing ADU at the lowest level, and then transitioning up to the wood siding that wraps around the structure, and then the uppermost part would be that recycled material. FAR studies showing the amount of new in gray, and that roof deck that was described is on top of the existing garage, now ADU. It would be accessed from the main level of the house. This is the existing house. It is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, open kitchen floor plan. And then the new plan will add a wing to the west and reconfigure a little bit of the interiors and create an open front at the main area that accesses the new deck. This is also a new entry component that was shaded in that gray here. And then you go up to the second level, which is the primary suite, which lands further back on the house in this area here, with the bedroom, walk-in closet, and bath. The roof plan is we're matching the same material, Class A tar shingle roofing for all roofs, except for the sloping access to the other floor. That will be a TPM style membrane roofing, matching in color, in the gray color. These are the existing elevations of this gorgeous property. Typical to many of the houses, as you are aware. And then the new will be obviously greatly improved. This is the east elevation, which is pretty much buried from view. This is the west elevation, and then the rear, and then here's the front elevation, which shows the ADU below, the main floor access to the roof deck, and the second story proposition up there. Sections, just schematic sections to give you an idea of how it steps up in relation to the sloping of the site. That's my story.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to public comment. Oh, yes.
I just wanted to add that previously we had 9 public comments, all positive, as part of the record. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chair Lewis. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I have no slips for this particular item, and so we will move on to virtual public comment. And I do not see any hands raised for virtual public comment, so that will end virtual public comment for this item. We did receive a letter on this item from Brad Froling, and that was the only correspondence we received. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Chair Lewis.
Okay, thank you. We will move to questions now. I'll start with one question. Could you go to page A1.3?
A1 point, I'm sorry?
1.3. There you go. And what is that we're seeing at the top
This?
there? Yes. Mhm.
That is the addition, oops, sorry. This addition here.
Got it. Okay. So it wasn't shown on the previous plans, but it's basically that is a two-story space or a raised space. Is that why you're seeing
A
it?
lofted,
Got it. Okay. Maybe go back to the A1.3 just so we can take a look at it. Okay. So you see the stairs. And then what part, wait, thanks. What part is actually there then on the second story? The closet, and then you've got this, a
The-
floor. No, up above.
this?
So the stairs come up and then what happens?
Yeah, this is the loft. This is open to below.
Okay.
That's, yeah.
So has the roof height back there changed from what we last saw in elevation?
It shouldn't have, no. We just, previous plans? Oh, sure.
They appeared the same as I was flipping through. I've got the previous up on my computer, but I was trying to see that.
Oh, yeah, I think that was just a conflated floor plan before. So.
Yeah, we just want to look at the elevation. And where you see that room. So if you can show us where the loft happens.
Here. So this is the actual grade is lower down here.
Okay.
So it should be dashed right here, but so the loft happens here.
Okay, and then can you show us then A2.2 on the proposed one? Okay. That's helpful. That's what you're on, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I have more questions about that exact area that you were looking at. And on the west elevation, where that loft is, just in that same area, on the floor plan, can you go back to that floor plan area? Or the floor plan view again? Just trying to understand that. So that wall is angled.
This wall?
Yeah,
This is angled to meet the setback?
right.
Yes.
And so now go back to that elevation again. And it's angled.
You wouldn't read the angle in this elevation.
and
You'd read it here. I'm sorry, here, oops, right here. Do you see how that's angled?
Yeah, I was just trying to understand how it's angled in plan and then also angled. It's angled in plan and angled on the roof
Yes.
with a shingle roof.
Shingled here, but when it gets to be flat,
It's
it'll
flat,
be.
oh, yeah, with the
it'll
shingle
be
area
that-
on the.
Yes, it'll get to this, what I'm calling out as
Gray PVC.
the thermoplastic, the TPM. You know, it's a-
Okay, and then while you're on that elevation, that north elevation, see where the little rake detail is, where the siding is meeting what looks to be a fascia? What's going on? What's that material there?
This material here, or this?
That's that vertical
Yes.
material that we saw.
Yes.
And then what about, right where
This?
your arrow is, yeah?
Yeah.
What goes on there?
So that's a continuation of a fascia, which would be a painted board, just to differentiate, because there is a sloping part of that roof, which is, it's kind of hard to determine, but maybe sections. No, it's not a section through there, but
Okay.
this plane is not in plane with this. So this plane back here is not, let me go to
Yeah, I
the,
On the
understand
roof
that.
plan, that might be helpful.
I understand that, okay. And also, along the same lines as that angled wall to go with the property line, you have the same thing going on in the deck, right? You're angling the front wall of the deck
the rail. Yeah,
and the railing because of the front property line.
correct.
And Just out of curiosity, why did you decide to do that?
We had to be within the front yard setback.
So you,
And if we just took the furthest point there and drew it straight across, it's just not as dynamic. The views are more kind of easterly over the
Okay.
houses across the street, so we're trying to accommodate for the best view.
and can you go to the elevation of that deck railing again? Like, if you show it in the 1/4 inch, yeah. What are the spaces in between? It looks like what's going on in there?
This is at an angle, so you're seeing it obtusely.
No, not that one.
Oh, this?
What, oh, those are skylights?
This?
Yeah,
Oh,
those
no,
are the
no,
skylights.
that's solar, that's solar.
That's solar. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. And then
Oh, yeah.
the deck railing is like a metal.
4-inch,
railing.
yeah.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Okay, no more questions.
All right, any other questions from the board?
Yep. So, yeah, I'm just kind of struggling from the old set to the new set on the third floor, understanding the geometries of the roof lines, et cetera, et cetera. You show it a little bit different in the previous plans. So now I'm getting it, I think, when Jennifer asked the first question, the addition, the bedroom 3 is on the main level. So it's just a loft, so it's not actually up another floor.
No.
Up
no.
another.
This is the uppest,
level.
yeah, this is the floor.
But what was the excavation conversation around that
Well,
underneath bedroom 3?
What happens is, there,
Lot kind of goes up.
yeah,
I know that,
the
yeah.
lot does that,
Can you
and,
show us in the section?
I'm sorry?
You could show us in the, you're not excavating.
No.
The grade is at that level, because
Yeah.
we don't have a topo or anything.
Right.
Yeah, so, okay. I think that's probably more of the basis, and I'm understanding. So, that addition. So the next question is understanding the roofing, the blend of roofing. You've got gray PVC exposed with black asphalt that's existing. So can you show us the renderings and maybe the roof plans and explain where I might see from the street the gray PVC from that perspective right there?
Right there. That's where you'll see it.
Okay, so what about the other side?
You will never see that. It's too far back from angle of incident from the road to see that.
Well, I'd like to see a
On the
perspective
flat,
from that
on a
angle.
flat elevation, well, let me see here. Oh, hold on.
Just rest assured, my aesthetic would be to make it disappear. You know, I don't want it to.
Typically, we don't want to see a gray PVC as a roofing, right? Yeah, so, right. So maybe
Well, no,
we want to,
yeah, that's on the back side of that. If I go to the roof plan.
show me the roof
Oops.
plan.
So that's back here. This is sloping down towards the street. The PVC on the flat portion is back here. You'll never see that.
Okay, but here over the entry, you
The-
can see
the-
that.
Was it, over the staircase, you would see that. I worry about, about putting the shingles on that. I just think that would, it's too narrow of a feature to have that. It's an aesthetic thing.
Can we look at the exterior elevations of the front again as well, and maybe the rendering, I'm just, sorry, I was pressed for time too.
Yeah, and then, of course, this is a flat, elevation.
Understand.
Yeah,
Right, so
Taken
we're going to
from-
see the gray PVC there on the right, that little piece.
yeah.
And then we're going to see asphalt with PVC over on that bedroom. Is it connected there on that main level? Or, I'm trying to get at that little piece. Is there any other PVC exposed to the street?
It's just on this back, on the top of this here that you won't see.
Okay, besides that little
Yeah,
piece?
yeah.
Over the, okay, all right, cool. Thank you.
We got through that. Well, here's the section. So this is that, sorry. This, You can't see it, no. Sorry, it's further back. But it's back here, basically, that PVC. And here's the street.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right,
okay,
right.
okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
But I'm still seeing it on that front
You
stair.
are. You can't get it out of your head.
Well, no, I walk by this house for years upon years, so what I can't get out of my head is the master plan and compatibility. But I get economics, and I understand all that, and you're coming back, and you're enhancing the neighborhood, so awesome job, right? Appreciate that. I'm trying to understand the materials, so if you go to the materials or the rendering, make sure I understand what you're putting where, because there's a lot of different materials we don't typically see. I don't think as many. I mean, the existing garage has some cement board on it, and then you're putting this wood.
The wood is the majority of the way the conception here is, the concept here is that the wood cladding is wrapping around the existing house, the existing stucco house, and the addition reads as a separate volume with a smaller kind of grain. So as you step up the site, it recedes.
So can you go to your materials board?
Yeah,
So this is the Hawaiian,
correct.
and even though it's not labeled, and this is the siding.
Yeah. So the
Which-
rendering is not, it's more of it's a grayer, than,
So this is the spruce?
Yes.
Okay, natural gray, right.
and it may have, evolved.
Yeah, it's different than you have on your, but I actually like this better than what I
That's
see in the
why
rendering.
it's evolved, yes.
Okay, well, we probably want to correct
Sure.
that.
Sure.
Landscaping, what are you doing with landscaping?
Currently, this is just kind of this bad sloping with a crumbling midway wall-ish thing there. But we're doing board form concrete terraces, tiers, and then we're re-landscaping with agave and drought tolerant and with a little bit of,
Palo Verde?
thank you, Noah. Palo
I think
Verde that picks up
you're
the-
all existing, right, in the
Yes,
front of
yes.
the ADU?
So here's
It's
your
just
aloe,
only-
here's your Palo Verde. So we're picking it up, same along here and then stepping up, very, very minimal.
So
and-
that's the only new is along the side yard and then?
Correct.
Okay, in the planners, but you don't have any preliminary landscape drawing that specifies what that is?
Correct.
Okay.
It might be on the site plan, I might have put it, sorry. No, it's just graphics right now.
Okay. What rail are you going to do up those front stairs? And, I mean, that's kind of combined with that entry encroachment into the setback. And anyways, my next question.
There is nothing proposed right now. A handrail would pick up the same language as the guardrail from the roof deck, which would be stainless steel bar stock with, we wouldn't need a guardrail necessarily because it doesn't drop 30 inches, except possibly at the very top. But no, that building abuts that. So code-wise, I just want to get a handrail there for safety. It doesn't need a guardrail.
So stainless steel of kind?
Correct.
Okay.
Not like that, not like the deck railing to disappear as much as possible. Yeah.
Okay, and then the entry landing encroaches in the setback. It's a planning issue. I'm sure that's been vetted to meet the encroachment into the setback.
Yeah, that has been discussed
Okay.
previously. I think Holly was present at that point.
And I watched the video and such, I just didn't hear anything about neighbors on east and west side, and if you've discussed the project with the neighbors for
They support it.
privacy.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
They support it.
They support it, okay. All right. Because we've got the door in the setback, basically, or the landing. That's somewhat concerning on that side yard. But you have big hedge privacy there.
Huge,
which I'm
yes.
sure you're gonna. Okay. The other question is just you don't have heights on your sections. So 29 feet is pretty high for what we're used to seeing in the neighborhood. Can you show me heights again?
When you say 29 feet,
Is that your ridge height?
this is the existing roof height. So the new roof height is, 29. And that's from the lowest point, not from adjacent grade, right?
So you know what the top of that berm or hill is behind you?
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't, I'm just trying to. So,
Not on that drawing.
29 minus 8, or 7.6.
Well, it has been topoed, but I'm sorry to say I don't have it listed here. But what happens is that this is a retained slope back here, and then it gets steep here. So I don't know what that spot elevation is, if that's what you're asking for that.
Okay, all right. But actually, two.
Well, it's 6 inches. I mean, it's like 6 inches lower than the finished floor on the first level. So
But has that changed since the last time we reviewed the project? Okay.
And actually, your overall then is closer to 21.6, which is a lot more compatible with the neighbors.
right.
Okay, I have a question. If you can go to the south elevation, when we previously reviewed this, there was less glazing at the level that has the balcony and then over on the far left. If you can walk us through the proposed there. So, yeah,
That's-
that large expanse used to be,
That has changed.
right, that and the added glazing over on the side, and this is on
This-
the left side.
This,
Yes, I'm looking at the old drawings on my computer. They're also on your old plans if you want to reference them as well, and pull up the south elevation. So this is what the board saw previously.
this
So-
is, yeah.
Right, and there on the left, there was just a window. So if you can look at the new one now and walk us through the proposed use and why they're so much larger, and if there's potentially a happy medium between them.
Yeah, the thought here is that it all came from programming on the inside. It was not the desire of the client to let's see. So this just felt very shut off and very much like the old house, and we thought it was an opportunity to get that indoor-outdoor living situation there and enjoy those views, because the other scheme was difficult. We were opening it up, in two. This was an existing window. This was an existing window. We were opening up here and here, but swinging these doors out, and this wall just became, a non-functioning, both structurally at that point and the way to furnish it and live there. So it was desired to open that up.
Just became frustrating.
And then the same with this. If this living room, this bedroom, wanted to kind of get its own little sunken garden right here. Before it was just an operable window, and there was, access through the back, but it just felt like that was a nice spot for this bedroom.
May I say something? That opening up the front, it's the same width as the neighbor 2 doors down. It also allows you, the one thing you want to look out at is the ocean and the islands.
Pardon my interruption, but if you could speak into the microphone, thank you.
The one thing you wanted to look out at was the ocean and islands, and you had this wall in between. I'm like, why not match the opening of the neighbors on 2 doors on each side?
Each side.
And then the one at the top of the stairs, that opening, you're never going to see from the street because that'll be probably bamboo, in front of it. Privacy separating it from the level below.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
Recording in progress.
I actually came up with a couple more. Sorry, you guys. It's just, I'm just trying to wrap my head around these drawings, and I apologize, I wasn't here last time, so I'm just getting up to speed. Can you go back to the front elevation again, the one that we were just talking about?
I'll try.
There were a couple of things that I didn't see before, and I just was wondering about them. So that one, so what's going on with the front gable? And then,
This?
yeah, now go down where the gable meets the plate on the right-hand side. What's going on there?
So the fascia, because there are steps up, interior steps here, 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 to get to this level. This is lower. The entry is actually lower than the main living area. So there's these internal large steps. So this height would necessarily be higher than the, and we have the stairs going up there. So we're just raising that to wrap it around, and so when it gets to there,
So maybe if I saw the east elevation, it might help me understand it again a little bit.
Yeah, or even the rendering.
Yeah.
It does look a little unresolved in the rendering as well.
so it thickens here and comes over rather than,
It's a vertical plane.
yes, correct. So rather than turning it down at the same proportion, I wanted to make it, slide into the slope of the existing roof, and then this,
Okay, so
bends up.
that was intentional.
Yes, like the language of the,
And then I had, now that we're on this rendering, look at the front edge of the garage that's in front of the deck. What's that step up there?
that's existing to the ADU. It's
So that's an existing element?
Yes. Yeah, this is actually a photograph.
So there's a little bump up there
There's a
in the
bump up.
roof.
It's a vestigial portion of the, it used to be higher, and then we were informed that was not permitted. It was going to be part of the deck, but it was in the setback, so it was cut down. We had to leave that much from a structural standpoint, but it's existing. And
You had to leave that much because of why, again?
there's just the way that the roof was structured. It's now part of this building. We haven't done anything to this building, and this isn't part of,
I guess I'm not understanding why you need it.
we don't need it. But, I mean,
Don't
it has,
need
it is there, and it has to.
It's there now.
Yeah.
Got it. And then one more question. On the front, since you can just leave it on this, you said you didn't need the railing on both sides of those stairs. But are the planters, is
They
that
step-
really less than 30 inches?
From here down,
From between the planters as they step down, is it really less than 30 inches and 5 feet wide?
I'm taking the, I want to put the railing on this side, whether it has to be a guard railing, you're right, it might have to be on that side.
Well, I'm just looking also at, as you get up the stairs and then you turn left, you don't have
But
a
you
railing
don't-
there either.
You don't turn,
You-
by the time you're up here, that's, yeah, I suppose.
Oh, so maybe go to the floor plan, then I can understand what's. The lower,
Yeah, so, yes,
Oh, I
right
see.
here, right here.
So
you're
right there.
You're correct.
And then, okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
I had a couple quick. The east and west elevation, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me just clarify this. This plane is level with this. This is where it drops off here. But depending on what that point is down, that's where we might need the railing. This is solid.
So you're saying that that little triangle in there in plan view is a piece of deck?
It will be a landing, well, it will be same elevation as this because we don't want to dig that back out.
Yeah, why is that there, that little leftover triangle?
It's meant to read as kind of part of the landing when you get up here. Now, if we pull that back to there, then we could do that. We have that much more planting, but then we have that silly angle that we've been talking about. I'm kidding.
Thanks.
That's fine if that's.
That's all right. Well, that's all my questions, I think.
Yeah, all of these plans have front porches, most of them, and it's 7-8 feet up to them, just to give context to the rest of the board, because I live in one, or
Right.
rent in one around the corner.
Currently, this one has a porch right here.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's what we're here for.
I just wanted to see the large windows on the east and west elevations too, on the upper floors. And there were no changes in those windows, and we don't.
No, you mean these windows?
Yes,
There were no changes to that.
and that one is well away from that setback on that side.
Yeah, this is on the other side of the, here's the existing house, so that's set back, in plan. That's all the way back.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What about the other side? Sorry, I guess that would be the east side.
This side?
Yes, okay, there's the front door. Okay, so there
Yeah.
really is no further upper windows on that side. Okay, cool. And you didn't bring any details for us of roof, windows. Typically in a PDA, we would see architectural details, or I would like to see them. Just, it helps justify design.
Yeah, we're using Fleetwood aluminum windows.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Okay, so no further details
No,
provided.
we haven't gotten that far yet. We're waiting for design.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted a clarification. So the front ADU/garage, that's a different exterior material than the top section, correct? How does the color of those compare?
Favorably?
Like, is
It's
it close?
a
hard to
matte,
tell.
it's a matte black that picks up the darkest.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, Johnny, you'll kill me. I tried painting the
Get
ADU
close to the
Roscoe black.
microphone.
Rothko black, okay.
Remember that? I was out there trying to turn red into black like a Rothko painting. But it's going to be, they're going to be the same.
Okay. I think that's it for me. No
Okay,
questions.
you're going to hate me.
No,
I
that's
have
great.
one
No,
more
you're
question.
allowed. You're allowed.
On the elevation that has kind of now I don't know which elevation it is now. I'm a little turned around because.
Me
so
too.
many- But it's about materials and it was about, let's keep going and I'll find it. The other side, that one.
Which no one will ever see.
I'm still trying to understand. I know you explained that fascia. The other fascia that runs horizontal, are those two walls are in plane, right?
These two, there is a slight eyebrow, should be. There's an eyebrow over those windows. So it's it's just a overhang
Okay.
midway to protect those
that's-
sliding doors.
So go back to that.
Oop.
So.
I'm just trying to make you guys dizzy, so you'll.
And the eyebrow is meant to just be
It's to protect-
exactly at that grid line, go straight back. There's no overhang.
Differentiation between the two planes, is that what you're
So
saying?
you're using, yeah, I understand, you're using the eyebrow as a way to make that transition between materials. But I think this is where the, getting some details really helps us, because I'm having a hard time, no, go back.
But, okay, I just want to see if this section showed you that. No, it doesn't.
I get the overhang, and what I'm trying to understand is how the overhang is integrated into the, yeah, there, and then the other side, like,
Well, this volume is proud of this. If I can.
and then
go
the
to-
other corner, though, the right corner, like, I'm trying to understand how all that meets.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll save it. Now I
No,
understand
no,
what's going on.
granted, there needs to be development of that, this portion right here.
So you've got the eyebrow on the front, but then
Yeah.
on the side, it doesn't transition down to the side, it just cuts off there.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's it.
I had one
Finally.
more, I'm sorry.
You guys are like Columbo.
No, we have a lot, we didn't see it before, so we have a lot to gather up, so we can like make our findings.
Yeah,
But
sure, sure.
the existing photo of the house and the black or the gray asphalt shingle, can you show a picture of that real quick?
It's a
I just,
really
like,
small picture, but
You can't
I-
really see it from your rendering.
here it is. Let me try to zoom in.
And from the street level, it's not super visible.
Here's their neighbors with huge windows all over the place, sorry.
Don't tell my neighbors.
So, yeah, you won't see that roof from, eye level down below.
So
Yeah, we're matching it. Yeah.
Is it a medium, dark, black, asphalt?
It's a charcoal gray.
Charcoal gray, so that would be like a medium or a dark?
I don't know them as that. It depends on the
Okay.
product, medium or dark.
Well,
Is
it's
that
just
how you guys?
helpful to have all of the materials together, and then we can like, yay!
Yeah, sure.
You're talking about the roofing?
Yeah,
The
the
asphalt
asphalt shingles.
shingles.
You're matching that
Yeah.
I'm
on,
gonna take it,
you know what it looks like.
yeah, I mean, we'll probably take it and stand there with the material too.
No, they want to see that, yeah.
I know, but
Okay,
we'll
I
want
think
it
it's
to
time
That's
to.
okay.
disappear.
To move
That's
to
okay. I
comments.
just wanted, I thought you probably had a picture, yeah.
Okay. So who would like to get us started? I think one thing, thank you very much for bringing in the materials, and that was, the board has previously been in support of the massing of it. And so I'd like us to kind of stay in alignment with what the board has previously stated. And I think that this is in keeping with the intent from the previous comments from the board. I did have some minor concern with the amount of glazing on the front, but I do also agree that looking around the neighborhood, there is significant amount of large glazing on the front elevation, so I'm open to hear from the other board members on that. I have picked up in people's comments and also in my own, I would like to see as a part of the final review, these details, especially on the eaves and the corners and these intersections and understanding those. I'm curious the rest of the board's thoughts there.
I think that if we don't have the details worked out enough, that the geometry and the elevations potentially could change. So there's a concern there with not having the details. I'm just going to go into my comments that I think that we should consider, or the applicant should consider asphalt up, that gray PVC portion. It's all about balance and components. Otherwise, the materials I'm good with. I just need you to clarify the materials exactly on your board, on your presentation board. Identify, the exact materials for us in our PDA, so we can approve that. I would like to see the rail, on that front stair and that whole landing, entry landing figured out. And then just, for us, because we assume the previous board's submittals have all been approved, so we don't have to think about it anymore, like the window example. So when you, come in, you want to identify for us what you've changed from that previous submittal. Super helpful, because we don't spend the time reviewing it.
Other comments from the board?
I'll go after you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really focused. I mean, the last time we saw this project, I think 90% of our time was really focused on the materials, as was our comments. I know that there have been some changes made to the project, so I think it's fair for those to be for discussion as well in terms of glazing of the windows. I don't have any issues with the new windows, given the nature of the street, other homes on the street. They're overlooking the road as well. In proximity, and I understand the intention of them. I think the materials are an improvement. There's been overwhelming neighbor support from the next door neighbors and proximity. And so I'm definitely in support of PDA. I do think that we have a few comments that may be conditions of that as well. One that I have is even just like a simple landscape plan, so it's really clear that there are plans to put plants in front of those retaining walls. And then I'll leave it to my colleagues to add any other, conditions or ideas, but that's it for me. It's definitely an improvement over what's there, so I want to get this moving. I know we've seen it a lot of times.
I think this has the potential of being a really cool project. And where I think you are now is figuring out the details. So we keep talking about details, and I think that's going to make or break this project. And if you do them right, the project's going to really be a standout, kind of cool project. But if you don't do them right, it's going to fall short. And so,
You sound like Mies. Okay, I'm kidding.
And yeah, exactly. And I'm not going to say anything about the massing in terms of like how the walls kind of go along with the property lines instead of making square. I think there's a beauty to square rooms and contemporary architecture, but if you really want those angled walls, you're going to end up with some interesting, every time you take a shower, you're going to go, that's not a 90-degree when I'm looking at that shower wall. And it's so, but if, I'm not a proponent of architecture following setbacks, but since it's not super obvious and it's on the side of the house, I don't think anybody's going to really notice. A lot of people aren't even going to notice it. But if I was taking a shower in that shower, I would certainly notice it every time. And then same with the front deck. I know you said, oh, it's really dynamic, and it could be, but it's almost like not enough to make it dynamic. So, somebody's going to walk by it, and it might be enough for them to go, that railing isn't square. But if you really want it, and it's already been reviewed before, I'm going to stay away from those kinds of things, those kind of comments.
I will add to that quickly, if that's okay,
Yeah,
though,
go
from
ahead.
my perspective. Now that you did add those sliding doors to make that a more usable space, and it's not just one door or window, I would also argue to make that more squared off, because you're going to have more open and usable space from the interior. Does that make sense? Versus before, when it was just a small window. What was that? Anyways. Okay, I'll let Dawn continue.
And so for me, there's just a few things I'd like to point out. I think you need to look at the fascias and where you want them, and where you don't want them, because and how they interact with one another and how they turn corners, and and how they interact with eyebrow overhangs. And the rendering is a really good example of one that kind of comes up and then it turns into a vertical wall that goes down to another gable roof. And I'm not sure I think that's like one of those details that to me, if that detail's worked out really nicely, it could be kind of an attribute to the project. Right now, it's looking kind of odd to me where that vertical wall is meeting that fascia. So not all these need to go into the minutes, but I think that something that should go in the minutes should be really look at the detailing and the fascias and how all of the elements of this project are coming together. And because likewise for the element on the roof element that's kind of a higher pitch on the right-hand side, and that's supposed to be a shingle roof, and yet it's kind of a steep roof, and it's different than the gabled kind of shallower roof pitch. That, but I don't want to say that another like roofing material should be introduced, but that's just one of those kind of odd things to me that is, it could work, and I don't really want any more materials on this project, but, and then the planter, I think we talked about, you're going to work on that railing that you're going to need there and how that's incorporated. And I think that the front bump up in that little corner is kind of odd since you're redoing that roof anyway and you're adding that,
We're not redoing
because you're building a deck.
It's been structured for that, so it's.
Anyway, I don't think that's helping you any.
I
And
agree.
it's just
I
a
agree.
comment. If there's something you can do about that, I think that's one of those things on this project that's not really it's not really helping you. And
agree.
there's this could be stronger if some of the details are figured out and simplified.
Fair.
And so that's kind of it.
Well, there's where I'm kind of struggling with the PDA today, because I feel that once those details get looked at a little bit closer, I mean, maybe they're minor enough for us to say, okay, they're minor enough, but when you start playing around with the roof over the stair, for example, you might start reducing the size of the adjacent space in order to balance that out. So that's why I'm struggling with the PDA. And we're supposed to, like, illuminate that to our other board members. You know, I mean, we can do conditions.
I'm sorry, PDA?
Project
Yeah, so
design
right
approval.
now, you're here today for project design approval.
Oh.
I will say, you know, and this may be us as a board communicating to staff what we'd like to see here, but as a part of project design approval, it is not required yet to have these details. And I hear over and over again that board members would like to see them because our finding states that we need to say that there's quality architectural materials. And so we're making this statement, and normally we say there will be, because we expect to then see that at final. I think if we go, off of the required elements that we need to see at project design approval, if we can say that they're going in this direction and then here's the requirements or conditions that we'd like to see as a part of that, I would feel comfortable knowing that as a part of final review, they need to bring in their cut sheets, their exterior details, their final materials and things like that. What does the board think?
I agree with that. I think that because the massing and the mass bulk and scale, and now we've, the applicant clearly was going by the minutes of the last meeting and the materiality issues have been solved, that I think that these details can be resolved, but there's a lot of work in there about resolving those details. So I don't want to underestimate that.
Right, but that's my more understanding of how this system works, is that you're not denying it because there's not
It's
details.
not a denial, it's a question on whether you get PDA or not right now.
Well, that's
Exactly.
the same thing. I mean, whether I get, not denying the project, that's a legal term, but moving forward. We want to move forward, so of course, when we come back for a final, we have details.
Right,
like
so
that.
this
Yeah.
is sort of a bigger question that the board has with our staff.
I just
in
want to
the-
understand it, yeah.
Right, and so part of it is that in order to get project design approval, we have to make these findings. One of the findings that is difficult without details is that you've got the quality architecture and materials, and that the details have quality architectural details. Right now, what I hear the board struggling with is that some of these moments that need to be resolved, if not resolved correctly, could really not stand by this PDA. But I feel like we're enough split that we could give PDA with conditions. Is that what I'm hearing from the board?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always do, my approach is always to do more to get approval when there's any kind of question. So there's where I struggle with the required versus a suggested. I do feel like if you start looking at the detailing, that the geometries and your elevations are going to change. So that's kind of my bigger thing.
I think that I completely understand that perspective, but from the applicant side and from our purview and all the meetings we've had, the guidance we've given and what is required, our goal is it acceptable? And I think that it is. I think we should give conditions and we can review those at final. I definitely think we should see the project at final, but look, we've seen it so many times. We've had many opportunities to give feedback. So unless it's something with the new windows or the new material, I think we really need to consider that.
So
and look
I'm
at our
going
notes.
to make a motion to approve this project for project design approval with the conditions that at final approval, the included in the required exterior details, that they show details of the fascia, especially on the front elevation, and what is happening at the intersection of, on the south elevation, I guess I should call it. Pulling it up to reference.
The entry gallery and. where-
Yeah, between where the two roofs meet, and provide details and drawings of whatever proposed railing is to happen at the entry stair. And a landscape plan, it can be simple, a simple landscape plan to highlight the intent for the entry planters. The board also would like the applicant to consider a different, to consider asphalt roofing for the angled roof over the stairs that is visible from the south elevation. Okay. And the board makes the following findings. The proposed development is consistent with the scenic character of the city and will enhance the appearance of the neighborhood. Sorry if you can stay quiet while we're making our motion. The proposed development is compatible with the neighborhood, and its size, bulk, and scale is appropriate to the site and neighborhood. The board appreciates the stepping back of the masses. The proposed buildings and structures are designed with quality architectural details. The proposed materials and colors maintain the natural appearance of the ridgeline or hillside. The proposed, reference the materials. The board supports the natural gray vertical wood siding and Hawaiian charcoal European siding used on the home, and would like to see additional details. The proposed project does not include the removal of any trees.
No, right, correct.
The public health, safety, and welfare are appropriately protected and preserved. The project generally complies with the Good Neighbor Guidelines regarding privacy, landscaping, noise, and lighting, and the board appreciates support from the neighbors. The development, including proposed structures and grading, preserves significant public scenic views of and from the hillside. The development, including the proposed structures and grading, is appropriate to the site. No changes to the grading are proposed. The development maintains a scale and form that blends with the hillside by minimizing the visual appearance of structures and the overall height of the structures. That's it.
I will second that motion.
Wait, ooh, I
Oh,
wanted
do you
to
wanna-
add, potentially just getting the exact clarification of the materials in the drawings as, I don't know, one of the conditions.
That kind of,
They've labeled the materials. Is there a specific material you're wanting to see differently?
Well, yeah, this is different than what I believe is listed on the materials board, so if you could add the
So
roof.
where I called it natural gray, is that not what it is?
This
It
is a
may have
different
different name,
material.
But we will update to match what we're
I know,
presenting.
but
Yeah.
my motion
sorry.
includes what's on your drawing. So what is this called?
If that's what.
Thank you. So if we can change the part in the motion where I referenced the natural gray vertical wood siding and call it Akoya Smooth Coastline. And feel free to pass
Can you
this.
spell
Yeah.
Akoya, please?
Yeah, I'll pass you the sample to reference. Okay, thank you.
and I had, just kind of tagging on to what was already said about the materials. I think that's a comment that just is kind of a catch-all, where you talked about the roof and the fascia. If it could say, resolution of all material and roofing interfaces. Like something about the interface, because it's happening all over the house. Where
Right.
the interface of roof and materials needs to be really refined. So the board looks forward to a refinement of all roofing and material interfaces, something like that.
Okay. Is that possible to add to our condition statements where we request studying the detail of the fascia on the front elevation? Okay. Is it second or agree?
I accept.
Okay, if we can take a vote.
Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Graffiti,
Yes.
Board Member Sherry,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you.
Cool geometry.
And,
Thank you.
and this is just to the applicant that does start the appeal period for this project. So if you would like to appeal the decision made here today, you have 10 calendar days to do so. If we don't receive anything, we're going to be just waiting for your resubmittal for final approval.
Great.
Okay, thanks all.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move to our second item, which is a continued item here for project design approval. 202 Salida del Sol, proposal to construct additions to the existing 1,565 square foot, one-story, single-unit residence, consisting of a 21 square foot addition to the first floor, a 430 square foot rear covered porch, a new 946 square foot partial second story, and a 275 square foot second story deck. The proposed total of 2,934 square feet of development on a 7,968 square foot lot is 92% of the final required maximum floor to lot area ratio. A coastal exemption was granted for this project. PDA and final approval are requested.
Yeah, I actually had a staff comment on that.
Okay.
This project is not ready for final approval. The applicant
Okay.
did not provide final approval material. So the project is only here today for project design approval. Due to staff error, I wrote that in the agenda. It has been updated on the current slide. What's in front of you today? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This project was last reviewed on September 25th. So if you can make sure your microphones are on and state your names for the record, and then it would be helpful in your presentation to go through the previous minutes and how you addressed any concerns from the board, and also any changes to the drawings from the last time that we saw them.
Yeah, Jason Grant with J. Grant Design Studio. This is,
Hi, I'm Hillary Quinn. Oh, Hillary Quinn. I'm the owner and my husband, but he couldn't be here today.
so, to bring the board, and nobody's seen this for a while, so here we're back. So on this cover sheet, this shows you the neighborhood and shows you the areas where second-story additions already exist, and then there's been a handful that have been approved by this board recently. Some are under construction, and some are coming down the pipe, so you'll be seeing those shortly. So our existing house looks like this. It's your typical Mesa house, single-story. And so you can see the orientation to the street and kind of our immediate neighbors on this bottom picture right here. And so right up above us, there's a large two-story, and then it kind of steps down, and then we're here, and then it steps down again, and another single story. And so you'll see in my design that we've worked diligently to make sure that we're not looming over, on the neighbor below us, and then, not to avoid a situation which is kind of like this. And so here's kind of a streetscape. And so our project is right here. Here's the house that sits above us, and the house that sits below. Another streetscape kind of. And so here you can see how just kind of each lot kind of steps down to the other. And so here's our rear yard area existing, and our side yard. While I'm on this photo right here, I'll just point out, so we've been working diligently with this neighbor here. Her name's Ann, and so we're under talks to kind of reconstruct the fence. You'll notice in the plan that I have here today that we kind of propose some hedging along here. I just want to bring up to the board, we're just trying to kind of create a sense of privacy for both, and it's not our intent to grow a hedge up really tall and block anybody. We're under no problem creating or coming up with an agreement to the height of that hedge, and so we can maintain it at a certain height, but to get a little bit of a buffer.
And can I just add something there?
Okay.
That Ann asked us when we met with her, we've been to her house and vice versa, our house. She asked us not to grow the hedge over the fence, because when you're standing in her backyard, and we agreed, and it's all in writing, that we agreed to do that for her.
So here's the existing house as it sits and shows you our open yard area. There's the existing house plan as it is. This light blue area represents the second-story addition. That darker blue represents just a little single-story addition to kind of create a sense of entry. This hatch over here represents an outdoor deck area. And so I'll just point out that we work diligently to kind of keep it to the center of the property, not looming over on anybody, have the architecture kind of wrap around it to kind of maintain privacy for everybody involved. So the proposed plan looks like this. So it's reconfiguration essentially of the lower floor, just this little bit of a pop out right here at the foyer. And then, of course, this the second-story addition. So it's just a master bedroom and bath, and then a bedroom towards the front. And then again, this deck area that's right here. Let me go back just real quick. A couple items that were brought up in the previous meeting and how we were addressed is this line was over here towards Ann's property. The board said, figure out a way to kind of squish everything in a bit, kind of contain that second story a bit. And so we basically what you're seeing is what's changed from the last time is that we've kind of squeezed all the walls in just a bit and kind of reconfigured that upper floor area. And so we were previously over on this line right here, kind of stacked on top. And then now we're 3'6" over. And then we maintained all the distances. We already had good distances here on those sides. So we just kind of squished everything in and kind of brought it down. Another comment made by the board is we had a 9/6 plate. Board would appreciate it. We went to a 9/0 on that first floor, so we did that. So we reduced that by the 6 inches. And then here's the roof plan. And so here is our project. And so this dashed line that's right here represents the previous submittal, and then kind of that line along there. And so we kind of just pushed everything in a bit, kind of reconfigured that to kind of help kind of give everybody some space and just kind of tightened everything up. And so here's our neighbor up above. This is that fence, and this is that hedging. And I'm just kind of showing privacy hedging again. It's just an illustration. We'll maintain it at a height agreed upon between both neighbors. We have no problem with that. So these are our elevations. Here's our rear elevation. Here's our covered porch. I'll just point out again, the neighbor up above, we're doing our best to kind of maintain privacy. And when somebody's kind of up above you, you kind of do your best in terms of hedging and roof form. And so this covered porch is really just in a way to try to kind of create a sense of privacy for us and hopefully for them as well. It's kind of a two-way street. And so that's the reason for that form that's there. And so these are the elevations, and here's the materials. It'll be clad windows, wood casement, windows, all high quality, doors and windows, kind of column details, our railing details. We'll do an asphalt roof, but a presidential, like a higher quality. Rear door systems that we'll use. Again, the elevations here. Architectural detailing, railing details and little pop outs, the column details. On the windows, we'll do an extended sill and kind of a thicker trim around there to kind of to create a nice depth for the windows. Again, here's really it's a landscape concept, I won't call it, but these were the things that were proposed to be new. And so Paul and Michelle live right here. We've met with them. Ann lives right here. And so when I went to Paul's house over here, the idea with this hedging that's here is he actually wants a bit of height there because it's just so any portion of our second story, and we're a pretty good distance away, but just to make sure that we're not looking down into his property, he sits a bit lower than us. And again, this is our neighbors, which are down below us, and so we've worked diligently, clearly, just to make sure we have no windows looming down and maintain privacy for them, because they actually do have a beautiful hedge that's right here, and this is their most precious private outdoor space, and so we kind of work diligently not to be looking down on them. And that is it. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Do you want me to go back to something?
Well, before we go to questions, actually, we'll open to public comment, and then we'll have a chance for us to have questions.
Thank you,
Was it
Chair
that- was
Lewis.
it
I'll
that plan?
start with in-person public comment. At this time, I have no slips for in-person public comment. However, if anyone wishes to make a comment, they may fill out a slip and bring it to me. I see no one in the audience moving to do so, so I will move on to virtual comment. And looking at virtual comment, I do have a hand raised, so I will allow Ann Jochtel to speak. Okay, Ms. Jochtel, you will have 2 minutes to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. It was a little difficult kind of logging on today, so I just wanted to make sure that you could hear me. So before I get into my comments, I was just wanting to know if the board has read my letter and seen the attached exhibit that I submitted, which is called Exhibit A. Just want to make sure you've seen that.
Yes, and can we start the timer?
Yes. Should I go? Tell me when.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Here are the issues that are concerning to me with this project. Number one, the maximum floor area ratio. The project, as you said, currently proposed has a max FAR of 0.92. However, if you count the fully roofed porch with the outdoor kitchen as another room, just as a carport is calculated as net floor area, it adds to the density and bulk of the property, and thus the max FAR is 1.05. I asked that the project be designed to conform more closely with the neighboring average, which is 0.83 max FAR. Number two, porch height and configuration. Recently, Mrs. Quinn offered that the porch height could be reduced by a couple of feet if a structural engineer were consulted. I do not see that the porch roof has been lowered in this proposal. To reduce the visual impact of the porch, I would request that the gable roof be revised to a hip roof and the roof be lowered. Number three, landscape plant material and location. The proposed Ficus microcarpa, which is Ficus nitida, is an unacceptable species to be used as a hedge, particularly along our shared property line, because this tree can grow to extreme heights and will impact our access to sunlight, place a significant mass directly adjacent to our living areas, and impede our views. Additionally, the proposed plant material in the raised planter does not comply with the zoning code, which is my Exhibit A. Also, the board at the September meeting asked the applicant to consider a consultation with an acoustician to address the noise and privacy issues raised at that meeting. I don't see evidence of that consultation. Let me be clear. I want the Quinns to have a house they enjoy and that we become very nice and amenable neighbors. But my home will be significantly impacted if this project is constructed as proposed. Just want you to know, I was born and raised in my home, as were my children, and I am absolutely passionate and about the neighborhood and the community that I live in. So thank you for considering my concerns. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. We will now move on to Tiffany Holler, who has a comment. Tiffany, you will have 2 minutes to speak. Tiffany?
Hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear
Okay,
you now.
yes.
Hi. We are actually across the street and 2 houses up. We're shown on the diagram of having the 2-story addition, one of the ones that's on the other side of the street. And it was brought up at the last meeting. I just wanted to reiterate, all of us here on this street really care about the neighborhood. And while some of us might have 2-story additions, whether we bought them or not, or put them in, they're very well hidden in the back, or they have a pushback. And so if you stand in my kitchen or on my front patio area, if this house, and it's not been really brought up until I'm looking at the plans now, anything that's going 2-story over the garage part, I just asked that the applicant or that they would be cautious, because that will block our first floor view of the coast of the ocean. So I just still think it's a beautiful house. Don't get me wrong, it's gorgeous. I just think that for our neighborhood, it's just different than any of the homes that we have on our street. So I just would, just want to make that comment.
Thank you. Can you state your address again?
We're 209,
209. Thank you.
but you can't see our second story from the street, really.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. We will continue on. I see no additional comments for virtual comment. We did receive several written comments for this particular item. We received letters from Salvatore Malazzo, Aaron and Ryan Famulero, Paul Kafadar, Brendan Tully, Bill and Jenny Pace, and Ann Shore-Jochtel. And at that, I will turn it back over to you, Chair Lewis.
Thank you. To kick off our questions, if you wouldn't mind pulling up on the tab our minutes, which is the 3rd tab up there, and scroll down to your item. Okay, and then our actual comments. There we go. So we were in favor previously of the project and waived any of the FAR things. The board wanted to see relief of the 2nd floor, which you did. The board recommended a study of the proportions of the window on the westerly elevation above the garage. Can you show us that one?
I can. Let me go back here. So that was right here, and so there we had a window that was down in this area here, and so what we did is we just actually put in a door system and actually just buried a very small little balcony into that deck system to kind of hold it back, and so we thought this was a better configuration. When we reconfigured the building, the rooms all got a little bit smaller, and so the reason for the doors there compared to what the window that we had before is it's just a sense of if you can open up a little something, it makes the room feel a little bit larger, and so that's where it was reconfigured at that point.
Okay. And is that on the south that we're looking? That is the little balcony you're talking about?
That is right here, yeah, the proposed west elevation, so that is the front.
Right, but
Yeah.
when we look at the south
I'm
elevation,
sorry.
is that it?
Oh, this is it here,
Yeah,
yes.
perfect.
Yeah,
Okay,
you got it,
thanks.
sorry.
Okay, if you can go back to the minutes, that was item 3. So 4, we appreciate the effort of reaching out to the neighbors and encourages consultant, it appears. So then it says here that we encourage you to consult an acoustician regarding walls or proposed architectural elements to dampen the noise. Is there anything else that you've looked at proposing to dampen noise?
Yeah, so, sound is like line of sight, and so it's what you can see, you can generally hear. That's why there's these large walls on the other sides of the freeways. So again, that's where the covered porch element, and that's where the attempting to, even if the species of plant material is not liked, we can change that too. It's just an attempt to kind of, with fencing, hedging, roof elements are all things that I think will help, mitigate any kind of noise pollution in any direction, quite frankly.
Okay. And then you reduced the plate height, and we were in support of the architectural style. So can you take a look at the old plans and just show us what was happening on that back porch before?
The back porch always had the covered porch
Okay.
element, and so there was no change from the
Okay.
previous submittal on that. Just
So really now it's adding in the hedging on the side
Correct.
there for
Correct.
noise. Okay. Okay. Any questions from the board then that we want to start with? Board Member Sherry, do you want to start us? No? Okay.
Yeah, you took care
Graffiti?
of the questions.
Okay.
The only thing I was, like your horizontal siding, you didn't call it, I mean, you had detail at everything, but the horizontal siding material, you don't have called out in manufacturers on wood, windows and doors, but I totally appreciate like everything you guys have done. You've addressed all of our comments and the neighbors' communication, amazing job. So, do you know what your horizontal siding is?
It'll probably be a hardy material.
Okay, all
yeah,
right,
yeah,
assuming,
yeah.
you just don't have that all called out, but you got everything else
And
all
windows,
detailed
most likely
out.
Colby and Colby, we just don't know until we get the prices on those windows.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so-
yeah, awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the only other question then with landscaping, will you pull up your site plan again?
Do you want the landscape, this one here?
That works,
Yeah.
that works. So it seems like there's neighbor concern with the ficus, and are you open to other materials? and sort-
Absolutely.
okay.
Again, this was just an attempt to try to mitigate and hope, it was kind of a
The
gesture to
sound,
try to,
right.
do something nice. So we're not married to any certain species or whatnot, and we're more than happy to maintain it at a certain height, to make the neighbor happy on that side. Again, the neighbors in the back are kind of hoping we keep it a bit taller, and then the neighbor on the side wants us to keep it lower, and so, but that can be done. That's easily.
Okay. Do you have a comment, a question?
Are we still on questions, right?
Well, I think we're ready to
Transitioning.
transition to comments if you want to kick us off.
Okay, well, I mean, I was just gonna make one about the hedge. I mean, I think you could consider, there's so many options, but like a bay laurel could be nice too, that's similar in look. I think ficus are heavily used across Santa Barbara. It's really a popular hedge, as long as you keep it as a hedge and you're not growing it as a tree, but they do have slightly more kind of invasive root systems, so I think that's just the one probably thing to consider. In terms of project comments, I think it's a phenomenal project. Even just the slight change of the second story and bringing it in, I think makes a huge impact aesthetically and away from the neighbor. Appreciate, again, you working with your neighbors as much as possible. Sometimes not everything can be resolved at this point, but I think it's great to continue that. I don't think I mean, again, thank you for reducing the plate height. Even the FAR went down a little bit, so I think it's going to be a beautiful home and definitely a big improvement. So I'm in support of PDA.
Yeah, I think one comment I'd like to make more for neighbor awareness, but the FAR is not a requirement, and part of what our board is looking at is the visible size, bulk, and scale. And our request in looking at it was to bring in that second story just a little bit, and you guys did that. And second stories are happening in this area, and I think you've done a really good job of placing it considerately on your property, and it's very beautifully well done. And one thing I'd like when we go through our comments is if we'd be open to the final being done at consent. I think it could be.
Yes, especially because a lot of details were brought today too. I'm comfortable with that.
Okay. Board Member Anderson.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I want to pick up on that. You pulled that roof deck in on that second floor for the master. That was the comment that I kind of missed, or I was like doing something else. Like I'm on this project, But I know you addressed that comment too, and it's so appreciated to have you, work. We're a team, we win-win. So you pulled that roof deck back from the thank you.
Okay. All right. Then I would like to move to approve this project for project design approval with the following findings. That the proposed development is consistent with the scenic character of the city and will enhance the appearance of the neighborhood. The proposed development is compatible with the neighborhood and its size, bulk, and scale is appropriate to the site and neighborhood, especially with the second floor footprint sitting inside and centrally located. The proposed buildings and structures are designed with quality architectural details. The proposed materials and colors maintain the natural appearance of the ridgeline or hillside. The proposed project does not include the removal of significant impact trees. The public health, safety, and welfare are appropriately protected and preserved. The project generally complies with the Good Neighbor Guidelines regarding privacy, landscaping, noise, and lighting by locating the second-story deck as far inland, providing good setbacks to the public spaces, and providing privacy hedges. The development, including proposed structures and grading, preserves significant public scenic views of and from the hillside. No significant changes to the public views with this project.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. I think that's it. Well, I'd like to add the comment that the board is open to considerations of other hedges and/or indicating in the plans the height requirement agreed upon with neighbors.
I'll second that motion.
Thanks. Okay, we'll vote.
Chair Lewis,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Graffitti,
Yes.
Board Member Sherry,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
so
Great,
much.
thank you. And I just wanted to announce to the applicant and everybody here that that is going to start the 10 calendar day appeal process. So if within that 10 calendar days we receive any note from either a member of the public or from the applicant team for an appeal, we will let you know. And other than that, we'll be waiting for your resubmittal for final approval.
Thanks.
Thanks all.
Yeah. And I just want to make sure that was captured, that we did move this to the consent calendar.
Yes.
If that can be, thank you, for final. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And then for the last item, this item was continued to June
The
3rd.
June 3rd, okay.
All right.
All right, so that ends our Single Family Design Board meeting for May 20th.
Great. Thank you all.